Hello and welcome to the 2017 Uinta Basin Mayoral Candidate Interviews brought to you by VTV6. What we've done is we've invited all of the candidates running for mayor from Duchesne, Ballard, Roosevelt, Vernal, and Naples to come here to the VTV6 studio and answer 4 predetermined questions. Those who accepted our invitation were each given 5 minutes to answer those questions to the best of their ability. We welcome to the studio now Albert Foster, who is running for the Roosevelt City Mayor. Thank you for joining us, Albert. Our first question for you is, what do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
Well, I've served on the Roosevelt City Council for 6 years, almost 6 years. Myself and Aaron Waite, I guess, would be the senior most members of the council. And in those 6 years, I've seen quite a bit of improvement and development within the city. As a profession, I consult with other cities and counties and government entities as an HR consultant and go around to these different entities, helping them with their policies and procedures, making sure they're doing what they should be right. And the great thing about that is I can bring some of that information back to the city to help the city follow the regulations and requirements and our own policies. And I love living in Roosevelt, which I think would be one of the most important parts of being in the mayor position, is just a love for the citizens that live in town and the hope that we can make our town better.
What do you feel are the most pressing issues to the citizens of Roosevelt?
You know, we came through a tough time these last 3 years with the economic downturn experienced all over the Uinta Basin. It was tough for a lot of families. We noticed that school enrollment did not decrease. So we didn't lose a lot of people in Roosevelt, but we lost a lot of our wealth. And we lost a lot to our budget in those 3 years. So it's easy to manage a budget during a downturn because you say no to everything. And we budgeted for the minimum things that we could do. And now that we're coming out of this recession and our budget is increasing, then it becomes a little bit more difficult because all of the projects that we put off for the last 3 years are coming back in. Hey, we need to fix this road, we need to fix this water line and sewer system. And so the pressing issue I see right now is how to fit all of those infrastructure demands back into our budget and make them happen in the next few years. We have a 5-year plan, and that's been very helpful to get us through the minimum, but now we have to look forward, and with this extra money that we have or didn't have in prior years, how to use it wisely.
You kind of answered the question, but I'll ask it again. Maybe if there's something that you think specifically that the city should be focused on, again, considering the current or recent economic climate.
What we're going to focus on going forward, the city's in a good position because of strata and the internet that we have capabilities. Kevin Van Tassel just passed a bill in the Senate that the government needs to come up with 25,000 jobs in rural Utah. We're in such a great position because people can work from anywhere. I work from home and I do consulting all over the state and country. We're looking for jobs that can be done anywhere. Let's bring them to Roosevelt. Uber just hired 50 people in Roosevelt to work from home in like a home call center, calling other drivers in New York and California that want to be drivers for Uber. So one of the things we're going to focus on is how to get those jobs in Roosevelt where they can live anywhere. As we talk to retail, you know, we always want to have new stores and things come into Roosevelt. Retail wants rooftops. So as we can have more people live in Roosevelt, they want to live there because of our great aquatic center and our trails and the quality of life, the golf course and the parks. And then if they can work in Roosevelt, it makes it even better.
So if you are elected, what will be your first priorities in office?
My first priority, if I get elected, is to take down all of those ugly "Vote for Albert" signs that have been littering Roosevelt for the last couple months. We just have a lot of signs around town that But really what I would focus on is the current project at hand. We're working on the Stonegate sewer project. We've found ways to cut hundreds of thousands out of that project. And my number one goal would be to make sure that that project runs efficiently. We owe it to the people in Stonegate and to the people in Roosevelt City to be financially responsible for the tax dollars we have.
All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate you joining us today.
Thank you.
And of course, thank you all for watching as well. That was Albert Foster running for Roosevelt City Mayor.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
We now welcome to the studio Doug Hammond, who is running for the Vernal City Mayor. Welcome, Doug. What do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
Thank you for having me. My qualifications are, I've been in the oil business almost all of my life for 44 years, and I retired from that 3 years ago. And a couple of years ago, I got involved in politics because of the election that we were coming up with, and I became a delegate for the 11th precinct of Vernal for the Republican Party. And because of that, I got interested in going to the meetings, the city council meetings, and also the chamber meetings and all that. Just, I want to help. That's what it comes down to. I think it's our duty to help if we can.
Well, then what do you feel are the most pressing issues facing the citizens of Vernal right now?
I think Vernal's big problems obviously are economic because of the oil downfall. Many people lost their jobs in Vernal, and there's a lot of struggling going on in Vernal because of that. People have changed professions obviously to keep their house, as it were. I have friends that even lost their houses, so I think it's strictly economics for sure. I'd like to see the oil field come back. I've been through 4 downfalls of the cycle of the oil field, and this is just another one. It's a little longer than usual.
So what do you think that the city should be focused on, considering the economic climate that we've had recently?
I think budget is 100% of what they need to work on. Their money obviously comes from taxes and oil and gas income, and they need to budget very carefully. While this downturn is in the condition that it's in, we need to be prepared for it to happen again in about 7 years. So I'd like to talk to the people about that and have them, the rainy day fund, that's the word, I think, is we want to be prepared for it again.
What would be your main priorities if you are elected?
Learning. I'm not a political person in the least. My job was to give people an opportunity to vote for a choice. She was running unopposed, and the very last day you could sign up, I signed up. And so I want the people to have choice. I have learned a lot going to the city council meetings, but there's so much more for me to learn. So for me to step up and say, I'm going to dive into this portion of it, I'm not there yet.
Well, you've got about 2 minutes remaining. Is there anything else that you'd like the citizens of Vernal to know about Doug Hammond?
Well, I appreciate that. My wife, Marquita, is a local girl, and we met over in Denver 41 years ago. And we moved back to Vernal 21 years ago, and so she could help with her mom. Her mom had had a stroke. And so I just melted into the oil field here and kept going in my chosen job, and we've enjoyed. I love Vernal, I really do, and I really love the people that are here also. So my focus is going to be the city. That's all there is.
All right. About a minute left. Anything else?
That's all I can think of, but thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you coming in. Of course, thank you all for watching. That was Doug Hammond running for Vernal City Mayor.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
We welcome now to the studio J.R. Bird, who's running for Roosevelt City Mayor. Thank you for joining us today, Mr. Bird.
Thank you.
Our first question for you is, what do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
That's a good question. You know, I've thought about that question a lot. And, you know, I have to think about, if, as a voter, what do I look for in a candidate? And there's a couple of things that I think are critical. One, I think it's important that the candidate is honest and open in their dealings, and making sure that the public is aware of things that are going on with the city or whatever entity they're dealing with. I think that's critical. The second thing is, I just slipped my mind. The other thing is, see, I knew I was going to bomb this.
That's all right. I'll ask you the next question here. Okay. What do you think the most pressing issues are for the citizens who live in Roosevelt?
The most pressing issues for citizens in Roosevelt, I've been around talking to a lot of different people in Roosevelt City, and the things that are always coming up in Roosevelt City are the economy, for one. Infrastructure is a big issue for people in the Roosevelt City, and also park and recs come up quite often. Safety and security come up. But I think number one thing is the economy and how we're doing economically for Roosevelt City.
And speaking of economy, what do you think that the city should be most focused on, considering our most recent economic climate?
Most focused on, it would be definitely how to diversify our economy and how to maximize and enhance the current opportunities and resources that we have. One of the things that I want to do, if elected mayor, is form an economic development committee, and they would be tasked with forming relationships with investors, developers, property owners, those types of things, to organize ourselves and be ready for when growth comes. We've had opportunities for growth but haven't been able to take advantage of them like we probably could have if we were organized. That's one thing that's critical, I think. The other thing that economic committee could do is work with the Governor's Office of Economic Development and have that state help come in and help us organize and look at different areas of diversification. Their focus right now, there's 6 industries of focus right now, and we need to be teaming up with them and making sure that we're working hand in hand in those different industries to make sure that we're capitalizing on whatever we can in that way and utilizing their help.
Mm-hmm. So if you are elected then, what would be your top priorities?
Top priority would be just that, forming an economic development committee and also forming a park and recs committee. Getting people organized and involved with the government dealings. I think it's important that people are involved, that they have a say, that they have a voice. We have many people with many talents, with a lot to offer. We just need to give them have an avenue for them to bring that and those thoughts and ideas to the local government and integrate those in what we do.
Well, you've got about a minute and 30 seconds left. Is there anything else you'd like the citizens of Roosevelt to know about J.R. Bird?
Yeah, you know, the first question I definitely flubbed, but I want people to know, first of all, I'm a business owner. I've owned and operated a business for 10 years. I've worked with the public for 15 years. I managed another store before I started my own. And so relationships with vendors, relationships with customers, dealing with people one-on-one, that's what I'm good at. That's some of the qualities that I'd bring to the mayor position. Some of the other things, I currently serve on the the Central Utah Water Conservancy District. And I get to rub shoulders with a lot of different politicians, a lot of different mayors, councilmen, those individuals, bringing ideas back to Roosevelt City on how we can, you know, grow our city or things that we can implement here. Other qualifications, you know, I've served in various capacities on different boards and committees, and those are some qualifications that I think could help me in this position. Again, honesty, I think, is number one. And then the other thing that I was going to say is being there to serve the public. That is critical. I have no hidden agendas. My agenda is to serve the public. I am a public servant, and that's what I want to do.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. And of course, thank you all for watching. That again was J.R. Bird running for Roosevelt City Mayor.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
We welcome into the studio now Rodney Rowley, who is running for the office of Duchesne City Mayor. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Rowley. Appreciate that. What do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
Well, I've been working towards this for quite a while. I've been on City Council for the last 7 years. I was on Planning and Zoning for several years before that. I've volunteered my whole life. I've been 27 years on the Duchesne Fire Department, 17 years on the Search and Rescue, or not Search and Rescue, 17 years on the Duchesne Lions Club, 10 years on the Duchesne Search and Rescue. And I worked for the last 28 years for Horrocks Engineers as a surveyor in the engineering firm, as many municipalities that I worked with throughout the whole state of Utah. And I know the way things function, how they should function in a city and a municipality. I've worked with the Mayor Rowley of Duchesne, the current mayor, closely on things. So I feel I'm very qualified to see what happens in Duchesne City.
What do you feel are the most pressing issues facing the citizens of Duchesne right now?
Definitely the economic downturn, things that are pretty tight in Duchesne City. We don't have a lot of money to spare, and we have a lot of our residents that are on fixed incomes with not a lot of money to spare. But we do have also, we're on the process of raising our sewer rates. We had to borrow some money from CIB and from Rural Water to redo our sewer system. And we'll be a little while paying that back, but we need to raise our sewer rates almost by double in the next 5 years or 10 years. So that is a hard thing for those that are on fixed incomes. Mm-hmm. We also have a lot of drug problems, as do other people that are in the county. We've had a lot of problems with drugs. It affects our youth and our middle-aged people, and very concerned about that and how we function as a city to help them out. We also have a lot of growth that are happening around Duchesne City that we need to be prepared for. So,
considering the recent downturn economically, what do you think the city should be most focused on right now?
the most focused would be on maintenance, where we need to kind of pull back. We just went through our water system, our sewer system, our road system, and it's time now to maintain. You know, we have some signage problems that we need to take care of, traffic control, and some sidewalks that need to be built, but mostly just to maintain and to make things safe, as we've went through most all things. But.
And if you are elected, what would be your first priorities?
My first priority would be with the youth. I would like to start a youth city council and have them educate. I find that Americans are losing track of what it means to be an American. You know, we worship the God of government instead of the God of the land, and a lot of that can be focused on the kids. You know, we need to change the way we interact with our children, and have people come to city council. We have city council every other week, 2 times a month, and there's usually 2 to 3 people. That's the only input that we have. But I would definitely like to start with the youth in the high school and have a youth city council government, so they can be educated on how the city works, why we have ordinances, and why we have a city to benefit each one of them, you know. But
well, you've got about 40 seconds left. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
no, I'm just grateful for this opportunity to come and speak and to kind of to say the things that are important to me. The taxpayer of Duchesne City, I am really concerned about taxes. I don't like to pay taxes. I like the first time it's fine, but when we waste money as a city, that means the taxpayer has to pay it again, and that's one of my pet peeves in life.
All right. Thank you very much, and thank you all for joining us. Once again, this was Rodney Rowley, running for the Duchesne City Mayor.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
We welcome into the studio now Sonia Norton, who is the incumbent mayor for the city of Vernal. Welcome, Mayor Norton. What do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
Well, having been the current mayor, I think that is a lot of my qualifications. I've had a lot of experience, and at the beginning, it was a lot of learning. Even though I had been on the city council, there was a lot of learning, a lot of different things I had to experience that I didn't on the council. And I've really enjoyed that, and getting to know more people throughout the state as well as locally, and working with them on projects. A lot of the things that we're trying to do to help the area. So I have learned a lot. We have a new city manager, and I have been able to help him to understand his role, and he's been great. We're very happy, and we are looking forward to moving positively in the future.
What do you think the most pressing issues are right now for the citizens of Vernal?
The economy, jobs, and I would say downtown revitalization. I know since November of 2014 we had a downturn in the economy, and it hasn't fully recovered, but I feel like we're stabilizing, and I hope to help make that better. We've worked with local, private partners, with the other cities and the county, and we're also going outside to the state of Utah We've talked with the Governor's Office of Economic Development and others to help bring jobs to our area and to bring other industry to our area to help stabilize our economy. At the same time, we are looking out for our current businesses that are here and trying to help promote them, help them to do better and succeed. We want everyone to flourish, and we want the economy to get better. We also want the downtown to be vibrant, so we want to bring more events downtown. We want to help the businesses improve possibly their buildings and also just make it a place people like to go.
You kind of answered this question, but if you would like to expound any more on what do you think that the city's efforts should be focused on considering the most recent downturn?
Well, it is kind of those same three items. I really have been focusing a lot on the economy. I know people are struggling, and they have been. I've seen it, and it hurts, and I really want to help them. I want them to feel secure and feel like they can stay here and work here, because I think a lot of people love living here. And I want them to be able to stay here, but to have a job, and maybe a secure, good paying job. That's part of the reason we have worked with other entities and with the state to bring other industry here. I think we have a strong technology base that we can capitalize on. And instead of focusing on the negatives, I want to focus on what we have, the positives, and what our strengths are, and attract businesses that use those strengths and employ more people. We have the tech, UB Tech, and also USU that are here and ready to train people in different fields if we need it. They're very versatile, and I think we should utilize that and capitalize on it.
And if you're reelected, what will be your top priorities?
Same items. I don't plan on changing. I want to continue working on the economy and improving the economy, bringing jobs here. Also, downtown has been a focus we've been working on. I'm part of the 5th to 5th Revitalization Committee, and I've been on that for years. And we've involved more businesses, more people from the public just getting involved, and it's really started to take some traction. We were part of the group that brought those historic pictures to downtown. And I think a lot of people have enjoyed that, and even visitors and people to our area, as well as we're working on benches and murals possibly downtown to help make it more vibrant, make it somewhere people would enjoy going, and also the businesses will feel better about being located there and want to come downtown because it is a place that people want to go and want to do business. We do have several businesses down there now that are really helping, and I think they're doing a great job. We just want to support them and continue to build the economy.
We've got about 40 seconds left. Is there anything else that you'd like the citizens of Vernal to know?
A lot of them don't understand what the CIB board is, but I was appointed to the CIB board, which is a community impact board from the state. It uses some of the mineral lease money that comes into the state to help those impacted areas that have been impacted by the mineral extraction industry. And I was fortunate enough to be selected by the governor to serve to represent Uintah County. And I was just put on that board in May of this year, and I hope to continue serving on that board to help the citizens of this county.
All right. Thank you very much, Sonia Norton, for joining us. Thank you for watching. Once again, that was Sonia Norton for Vernal City Mayor.
The Vernal Area Chamber wants to add your business in our network. Create change with various committees. Participate in community events and have a strong business resource behind your company's goals. Learn more at vernalchamber.org.
We now welcome into the studio Tom Nordstrom, who is running for Ballard City Mayor. Thank you, Tom, for joining us.
Glad to be here.
First question for you: what do you feel your qualifications are for this position?
Well, you know, I've been mayor for Ballard for 9 years. I've been on the city council. I've been on the planning and zoning. I've been on the water board. So I've had experience in the city government. I've also I managed job service for the last 17 years prior to retiring for job service. So.
What do you feel are the most pressing issues facing the citizens of Ballard right now?
Pressing issues, I think number one is the economy. The economy is not good in the basin. Pressing issues, the town needs to I think the budgets, we need to stay within our budget. Pressing issues we've had a country cabinet has left Ballard. We've had a FedEx business move out from Ballard. There's houses vacant in Ballard right now. We need to build up the economy in Ballard, but it's based, as you know, it's based on oil. So when the price of oil goes up, then the economy in Ballard builds up.
So speaking of the economy and our most recent economic climate, what do you think the city should be most focused on right now?
I would think probably the budget right now is what's concerned me. In the last, we appointed a mayor about 3 years ago, 3 years ago we appointed a mayor. And to me, the budget needs to be adhered to. We seem to want to spend, and we're responsible to the taxpayer. And so if we buy a lot of things that are just wants and not needs, that doesn't help the town, doesn't help our budget.
And if you are elected, what will be your first priorities in office?
First priority would get the budget straightened out. Trying to build up a budget so we can manage the city. I think that'd be the main one right now.
Well, we have about 2 minutes left. Is there anything else that you'd like the citizens of Ballard to know about you or your campaign?
One thing I'd like to know, or like the residents to know, is that I'm concerned about the residents of Ballard. I think that we need to be responsible to them. We need to have we need to look out for their interest. If there's something there's things that need to be done. One thing I want to do is have a quarterly newsletter. When I was mayor before, we had a quarterly newsletter and kept our citizens informed of what was going on in the town. And this hasn't been done since I served my third term. I served a year, and we thought we were moving back to Wisconsin, and we didn't go. And we decided to stay. But I think we need to keep our residents informed of what the town's doing. If we're going to buy a new dump truck, if we're going to improve on the roads, if we're going to look out for them. One of the things that's going on in Ballard right now is that we're getting oil companies moving in, and we need to let them know that we need oil companies to do the drilling of the wells, but we need to look out for the city or the citizens of Ballard. We need to look out for them also. We need to get drilling going on, but we also need to look out for their interests too.
All right, about 40 seconds left. Anything else?
I'm just concerned. In the past, we've spent on things that I felt were wants, not needs. So I think we need to spend time going back and looking at what we need and what we want, and so we can take care of things that the town really needs and things that may not be needed. And when the economy gets better, then do those kind of things. But right now, the economy is tight. We need to look after our budget and look after our citizens.
Thank you very much. That's all we have time for.
Well, thank you.
And thank you for joining us. That was Tom Nordstrom running for Ballard City Mayor.